you will face the London system from the black side. You must be prepared to handle this opening. This video, I'm going to show you how to handle this very annoying opening. Why? How am I going to show you? Many different setups. Then let me know in the comments at the end which setup you want to go for. Let's look at so many examples and I will try my very best to explain all of it. So we have d4, d5 and bishop f4. That is the London system. Now can you see this pawn is already, this bishop is already attacking the c7 pawn, so I want you to go c5 and a normal London player will defend it with e3. It's very important to play this move because now a capture happens, and now can you see this London bishop doesn't have a target anymore. It's a very healthy way to play in these kind of d4 positions anyway. You want to get the c pawns off. Then the bishop can come outside the pawn chain. That's the really cool thing. I really hate it in these kind of London positions when the bishop is back on c8. Queen b3. This move annoys me because really that's the point of these kind of setups. You might not be able to get your London bishop out, but now queen d7. Here's a really cool moment. Knight e5. Just be careful of this. So I'm following a very high level game between Anish Giri and Vladislav Artemiev. Knight e5, take. That will lose our queen, but now we go knight e7. The knight can come here. This doesn't work because we can block. They might move back, and then here, bishop e7, and then we can castle. So in this moment, just want to show you, that's why he didn't do it. Queen d7, what a cool move. And now, knight e7. This is why I wanted to show you this game, this setup. So, setup 1, this might be what you go for against the London, because now knight g6. That's a really cool move, hitting the London bishop, but also controlling e5. We can h5. That actually traps the London bishop, and now bishop d6, we can get the pieces off. Take. And then here, black has a really good position. So that is actually the first setup. So next chapter. This video is all about the viewer choosing their preferred setup against the London. There's so many ways. I just want to show you a few. Here we go. Now, bishop f4. You can play the King's Indian against the London. Now, e3, c3. I'll show you at the very end how to play against that. But first, a good player might go for the really critical line, which is knight c3. They want to get the center straight away. So now we can't go King's Indian more. It's okay. We can't get everything. You must stop your opponent getting the center. e3, normal London move, and now h4. This move is so important. You must play pawn to h5 if you castle. If you castle, then already this is a normal motif. That just means a normal idea. White can sacrifice the rook. Take. Sacrifice the exchange. Rook for knight. Take. And already the arrows show so many possibilities for white. Look at the red arrow. If the bishop goes to d3, then it's already checkmate. The blue arrow shows the knight can hop into e5. And then white can castle. That is the yellow arrow. Swing the rook over. Checkmating ideas. The knight, the blue arrow, hop into e5. And we're putting pressure there. So we can't do this. That's why the recommendation, and really, you've got to play this move, h5, stop them coming through on the h file. Knight f3 and now c6. Remember, Alireza Firouzja has the black pieces. At the end of the video, I'll recommend a very high depth video to cover this in more depth. No surprise. Knight e5, knight can jump early. It is totally fine. Now bishop e6. This is really one reason I wanted to show this, because now knight d7. Or else this bishop move looks really silly, just blocking in your own pawn, but the point is to get the knight in, and now rook c8. Why play rook c8? Because black needs pawn breaks, so then he can get the rook in the game pretty soon. Something like this, c5, really cool way to break the position. Good. Now, next chapter. One more setup, well, two more setups. d4, knight f6, bishop f4, and now c5. You can strike in the center early. Why? Because you give yourself a chance to play queen b6. Hit the pawn. You are looking forward to white maybe playing a bad move like queen c1, so then you're defending the pawn, but also a really bad move is b3. It looks okay to not get captured, but after take, there are so many holes around the white queen side. Now you can go into a King's Indian. Now you can go into this type of setup where you're going to blunt the London bishop, and this is looking good. Also, your bishop can come out to c4, to g4 I mean. Oops. The knight can go out to c6. This is one way to play. So, let's just retrace our steps here. You can strike in the center early. Queen out, and here, white might play knight a3, which is a really fancy move. Do not go queen b2, knight b5. Our queen is just offside, really. Just because we can attack a pawn doesn't mean we have to go for it. So knight a3, this game, high quality game between Eric Rosen and Alexander Predke. 2360 versus 2692. d6. It's okay to not take the pawn. They hit the queen, we drop back. And now we play a King's Indian. That's what I really like about the King's Indian. It's such a good setup against the London. And then b5, you can hit the knight, take. That is the move I love. Remember the first setup, that was on the second move. But here's just on the 10th move where we take in the center. And then we get lots of pieces in the game. He actually went a bit like this. Hit the knight. And then black has so many chances, lots of squares to work with. Rook c8, put pressure. The knight might actually come back. You see that London bishop, it's completely blocked in. That's really cool. Also, if the knight goes here, then the bishop might actually slide out. I'll show that in the final setup next. Let's have a look. We're 6 minutes in. Just give me a few more minutes. I'm almost done. Now, one more setup. Maybe they go knight f3 first and then bishop f4. Now you can strike in the center. It's a little bit different. e3, take. Knight c6, I mean, you can put pressure in the center and now you can take. It's a little bit different. The bishop can come to g4, so when you play a top player and they're aware of these move orders, I was trying to make this work and maybe I got something. This is really annoying. This is also annoying. If we compare it to the first setup, that was a problem, and now we play this cool move a6. They might hit us with b3, but now I think knight a5 is cool. Hit the queen, it has to drop back, and then e6. Knight e5 doesn't matter, because if you drop back, you can hit their queen. The bishops might come off, and then bishop d6 is okay, but I think rook c8 is cool. Because if you play bishop e7, then b4 is a little bit nasty. I do not love them splitting up the pawns. So that's why I really like this move. I mean rook c8, because if they go back, you can just drop your knight back, take, the rook is in the game. So that is one tiny difference. I think I've just about made this work, who knows. I'm also learning as well, because this is a video for my chess students. It's also for you, the viewer, but it's also a selfish chess diary for myself. I can look back on this video, and this is what I suggested against the London many years ago. If I look back on this video years from now, take, bishop g4, there we go. So that's one way to approach this. We got to have this useful move, pawn to a6 next. Now, this one, d4, knight f6, here we go. So London system again, and knight c3, d5, they want to attack that, knight b5, and now important move, knight a6. There's no h4 anymore, because can you see in the second setup, h4, h5 was so dangerous, but the big difference is the queen can't go to h5. So if you just try the same thing, you can kick the knight away and then go c5, but I really like this move, bishop g4. You're just controlling the square. And then you can go c6 and then c5, kick it away. This is the normal move you want against London, something like this. And then castle, take. Don't worry about this, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Take, you can take this way, doesn't matter. You have got the c file open, which is the same thing I mentioned in setup 1 and setup 3. Get the knight in the game if you want. You can come back, it's fine. Even this, you see, this isn't terrible. Something like this, just playing such a solid way. You're going to get the rook in, the knight can come back in. This bishop isn't really that good. Something like this. And now here we go. The last setup, I believe. Now, what if they play the full London? You could say e3 and then h3. This will be against your King's Indian. You see, setup 1 was also the Queen's Gambit decline, because students will also play that. I'm showing King's Indian against the London. It is up to you which setup you choose. You go d6 and now c5. Different kind of pawn chain. And then final setup will be striking in the center. b6, bishop b7. Why is William showing this? Because we want to control that square. Knight d7, the knights defend each other. Rook c8, the c file can open up, take. Now, can you see this rook is on? So you don't really want to go here because the knight can come here, it goes back, and then the knight can control that square. Queen c7 looks okay. Normally, players will go here because then the rook is open, but now we can attack the bishop, and then remember this cool move, bishop h6, controlling these kind of squares. Look at the blue arrows. That knight can actually sit on f6. You might defend, you see, over defend, so then the queen can actually slide over, maybe even slide over like this. That looks pretty cool. Yes, and maybe a slow expansion as well. So I believe that is everything, guys. Is that the final chapter? Brilliant. I actually filmed this twice. The first time it was awful. Here we go. This is much better. Right. How does Alireza Firouzja beat the London system? I mentioned this from setup 2, in-depth video, 483 views from 2 years ago. Bottom left corner, something totally different. You will know if you've seen my videos, lots of openings, and bottom left corner, how to play one of the best openings. Catalan, 4,500 views from a few years ago. It's still the top on my channel. And then top right corner, another black opening, how to play the Caro-Kann defense, 1,100 views, also from a few years ago. Thank you so much for watching.